Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to Monday. Monday set the tone for the week. New Monday, new week, new go. Right? Welcome, welcome everybody. Welcome everybody from different cities, and maybe some of you are from different time zone too. So welcome. Bitcoin has come a long way, right? Since its inception. A year ago, it was traded for 10,000 only. Yeah. Now fast forward to today, it stands 43, 44 today, about 4x, 400% right now. Now, needless to say, a lot have changed since then, right? In the earlier time, Bitcoin is only by the retail, hold by the retail ordinary people and some traders. And today, institution has come in, country has come in. Okay, countries and financial institutions are adopting it. So there's a mass adoption factor at play right now. Where do we currently stand with Bitcoin? From now on, Bitcoin will rocket up, or will it be rocketing up? So let's discuss today. My name is Richard Tan from Success Resources. We are the world leading education provider every weekend, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. This is streamed live on Facebook and YouTube. We'll be making videos on cryptocurrency and Bitcoin investing. So if this is a topic that you are interested in, please make sure that you tap the thumbs up channel, right? Subscribe to this channel, and also spread the news and inform your friends about this channel, right? And also click on that notification so that whenever we run a video, you are the first to know. Now, I'm very, very delighted to bring my friend, Dr. Clement Chan, to the program. Now, Dr. Clement Chan is no stranger to many people around the world because he's an authority in financial investing and also a very well-known teacher to many thousands and thousands of students all over the world in the art of wealth creation. Welcome, Dr. Clement.
Wow, thank you so much, Richard. What a great way to start off Monday. And we dive straight into the world of Bitcoin. I'm so excited to start off this week together with you, Richard.
Thank you, Dr. Clement. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. And today is Monday, so let's start a victorious day, okay? So now, thanks to China, latest news, right? On the back, this is an old thing that they do. They've been doing this since 2013, and several times they have done it before, and you know, and with old news, it still affect the market. So thanks to China's latest news last week, Bitcoin price has now gone to 43, 44. Now, two large exchange like Binance and Huobi have stopped taking customer from China. In fact, they are kind of giving a little bit of time to phase out all the Chinese customer. But other development in other countries of larger population like India and Indonesia. So these are country, huge population, right? India is another billion people population, and Indonesia is 250 to 300 million. So they are large population. Now, they have not moved in the same direction. In fact, you know, they are not following China. So Dr. Clement, question for you is, how do you see countries' reaction to Bitcoin?
Wow, that's a great question to start off the week. And, you know, over the past few days, a lot of things have happened. And I think what is important is we kind of nail down in terms of time sequence. So I'm going to do right now a big switch over to our screen here and kind of let us identify the important red and green candles, all right? So start off over here at the beginning. This is what happened on the 24th of September. We have a very, very long red candle that's descending down from 45,000, and it kind of dropped all the way to 41,000. So this is a big one-day drop. But on that one-day drop itself, we didn't have a real, what we call a full red candle body. In fact, we have a half red candle body. So half red candle body means like this, all right? So I draw, this is the candle body. And then I further draw a line that kind of cuts through, and this is what we call half body. So let me explain to all of our audience the key salient points, and then we dive in to understand how different countries are reacting to this announcement by China's ban on cryptocurrency. This tip here, the hair tip, is called a high price, and the bottom here is the low price. And then since it's a red candle, the opening price is starting here, and then the closing price is here. Now, typically when we see something like this, and I'm going to put an arrow right next to it, it looks exactly like an arrow that wants to shoot up. That means the market has absorbed the bad news for that day and kind of crashed to the low of 41,000, and then it's kind of go right up back so that it closed at this point. So this is a very, very good signal for us to understand, okay, every single bad news about this announcement that's coming out on the 25th has been absorbed by the market. So this is step number one. Now, from step number one, then we need to trace the genealogy of this announcement. So the genealogy is kind of interesting for us to dive deeper in, you know, Richard. We are looking at very interesting information like, hey, China has been reiterating about ban on crypto since the year 2013, all the way 2017. So give everybody a right proper context. They have been preaching about this. It's not like a single day of surprise that shocked everybody. So I want to pull out some important data. And in this important data, kind of give everybody the correct context. And this is where we have another kind of a genealogy tracing of all the bad news coming out of China starting from the year 2009. And this is kind of really interesting. We can even plot out on the map itself, all right, on the chart itself. Starting from 2013, banks banned from trading in Bitcoin. 2014, false report of Bitcoin ban in China. 2017, closure of local exchanges. That was the winter season in 2017. And what happens after that? Bitcoin shot up to an all-time high in 2017 in December, hitting $19,000 per coin. 2019, warning to miners. That was in April. And then we kind of fast forward 2020, China bans people selling Bitcoin, all right? And then authorities shut off electricity to Bitcoin miners in December 2020. And then we kind of fast forward to May 2021, state-owned bank bans Bitcoin transaction. And then we go to June 2021, they reiterated that they're going to ban Bitcoin mining. And then we come to August 2021, they shut down website and social media of high-profile blockchain companies. And the latest ban in September, which was just over the weekend, all crypto-related transactions are illegal by China's standard. Wow, what a big kind of introduction. And none other than, you know, we are hearing all this, and I'm going to show you all the godfather of Bitcoin in China. And this is none other than Bobby Lee, all right? He started the BTC Foundation, and he is called one of the godfathers in China, and he predicted this ban, in fact, last month itself. But this is one of the interesting posts that he made, and I want to give everybody the right context, all right? And here we go. The context goes this way. And for the curious, yes, I still stand by my prior prediction that we will indeed see another bull market of Bitcoin rally by the end of this year. It will be a huge FOMO, fear of missing out rally, pushing Bitcoin prices to above 150,000, likely over 200 to 250,000, and maybe even a chance to hit 333,000 by end of this year. All right. So this is coming from the godfather of Bitcoin in China. And then finally, we have the proper context. And what is the proper context? Right here. This is the news that came out on 26th of September, kind of a delayed piece of news. Crypto exchange giants cut back on China users as ban widens. So who are these crypto exchanges that we are talking about? And this came from Reuters itself. Another piece of news that released on 25th of September, China's top regulators ban crypto trading and mining, sending Bitcoin tumbling. So we're going to scroll down on this part of the article, and then we're going to nail down who are the big bosses right here. Here we go, I found it. And that is none other than 𝐒𝐸𝐥𝐥 as well as Huobi. Now, as we know, hobby founders are all here in Singapore already, all right? And they are saying that, okay, we are going to react to this piece of news and kind of phase out our Chinese customers by the end of this year. Okay, all good, said and done. What's our interpretation as per what Richard is asking all of us to think about today? And this is really, really important, all right? Now, the idea is this. China bans Bitcoin for whatever reason that it has. And in fact, I have my own devil's theory. Let me give a context of what I meant by my devil's advocate theory, all right? So I want to show every one of you here an article that came in my community that said about this. Step one of my students kind of posted out, hey, teacher, China government is holding 194,775 Bitcoins that has a current value of $10.75 billion today. I say, wow, I like this piece of information. And, you know, for what we do, we put on our robots to work and we kind of reverse engineer and kind of able to identify how did they go about owning so many Bitcoins, 194,000 Bitcoins to be exact. And I want to show all of you, this was a piece I spoke about last year. This was dated November 27, the year 2020. All right, so we start from the date. That was last year, November 27, 2020. The Chinese police have seized 4.2 billion cryptos from Plus Token Ponzi crackdown. All right, so they seized tokens. How many to be exact? And here we go, Richard. This is the really, really fun part. A total of 194,775 Bitcoins.
Yep.
And back last year when I was sharing about this piece of story, it happened exactly 6 weeks after the FBI confiscated Bitcoins. And probably my guess is, they realized as long as we can make it illegal, we can confiscate, and the word is called seize. So you can legally seize something as long as you pass through law that declares that this something is illegal today. And tomorrow you can go out there officially and take over the coins. Now, they have done it since last year. They own 197,000 Bitcoins, and this is really, really huge. And thereby, I see it as a stepping stone for them to say, okay, we're going to ban right now Bitcoin, especially exchanges. Those of you who don't follow the rules, step 2 will come in and take over your coins. So we got to recognize this kind of devil's advocate and put on this thinking. And then we look at the surrounding countries. How are they reacting to this? All right. So we are looking at India, still top the list of crypto ownership with 100 million hodlers. Where does your country place? Wow. India is still hot on the list. And of course, they are staying true to this conviction. Next, we're also looking at Indonesia. Wow. Will not ban Bitcoin like China. Minister says as crypto trade soars. Same information, different interpretation. So depends on the agenda of the country, all right? So I put together all of the thinking for you, all of you to consider different train of thoughts, starting from a godfather of Bitcoin in China. He's still predicting a major FOMO coming up. And then we dive in to look at the history of China banning Bitcoin. I mean, if they want to ban, they could have banned it like 100% in 2013. But why is it like always gradual, step by step? And what is the game that they're trying to play? And then we arrive at the fact that they own 197,000 Bitcoins through a seizure that took place last year. And then this time round, they announced a further ban on exchanges. And we do not know how this is going to play out. But other countries have a different reaction. And that is the beauty about Bitcoin. I hope I kind of give clarity to all of our viewers today. Back to you, Richard.
Thank you, Dr. Clement. Now, so therefore, the bad news or whatever news or fear of China banning Bitcoin and cryptocurrency has already built into the price. So the price you look at it right now, has already built in the this news. Now, an analyst at Deutsche Bank. Deutsche Bank is one of the largest bank in one of the very big bank over in Europe. This analyst says that Bitcoin takes the role of digital gold, right, in the future, and that Bitcoin is going to last for a century and largely not controlled by government. So question for you, Dr. Clement, is that with China doing all this, right, and of course build in the price, what do you think the statement that lasting for a century really means? Bitcoin is going to last for a century really means?
Wow, and that is a really long-term view about Bitcoin, and this is in fact representation of the institutional thinking. So I'm going to switch over here based on Richard highlight to us. Deutsche Bank analyst, Bitcoin will be ultra volatile, but is here to stay. Now, what is the argument about gold versus digital gold 2.0? So we kind of nail it down to the key salient points. And over here, I really like this paragraph that he said about this point, all right? If Bitcoin is sometimes called digital gold, Ethereum would then be the digital silver. So it's already straight away a narrative has been painted. The traditional ideology of the physical gold that we talk about, in fact, Richard, in the past when he first started, there was a complete ban of owning gold. Gold was owned by the federal governments. Yeah. They do not want the ordinary guys out there to touch physical gold other than buy gold chain. So, you know, it always started through this kind of evolution. And that's the reason why there's so much volatility surrounding the prices. So we kind of nail down right over here. In an update to Deutsche Bank's website on what's next for the largest banking institution in Germany, Labor said that she could potentially see Bitcoin to become the 21st century digital gold, but warned investors against the crypto assets volatility. Now, this one, we are really used to it. If any of our viewers today, you're not used to the volatility, then you are really not used to any changes that's happening around the world, including pandemic, because anything could happen, all right? It's not unique to Bitcoin. Pandemic is another example. 2008 financial crisis is another example. 2003 SARS outbreak is another example. We got many, many such examples. That's kind of the volatility of life. According to analysts, most Bitcoin purchases are made for investments and speculations rather than keeping the coins for a medium or exchange. So this set the framework. And, you know, Richard, previously we done a video series on Germany itself. They have finally approved in Parliament. Their largest state-owned financial institutions right now has opened up the floodgate to invest into the Bitcoin. So this is the consistent narrative that they're painting out of Germany that, hey, we're going to put our money into Bitcoin, and hey, this is going to stay on for the next 100 years, and hey, we can finally look at this as an asset class. And I think that serves the purpose of Germany itself. Thank you very much, Richard.
Yeah, wow, that's very interesting. Now, Germany, as some of you engineer, if you are an engineer, you will really appreciate that. German is the engineering giant of the world, right? You see, a lot of engineering product come from Germany, and German are the engineering giant of the world. So if the analysts from Germany think that way, that Bitcoin is going to be around for a century, for a long, long time. So we have to take that seriously. Now, the thing here is that another financial instrument called gold has been around for thousands of years too. So if we say that Bitcoin is be here for a long, long time, it could be also mean thousands of years. So now let's come back, not talk about hundreds of years or thousands of years. Let's say in the next 12 years. Bitcoin is now in its 12 years. Yeah. How do you see, Dr. Clement, how do you see Bitcoin in the next 12 months, not 12 years, but next 12 months in the area of retail investor, and then we go up to institution investor and country adoption in the next 12 months?
That's a very insightful question, Richard. You kind of squeezed down from 12 years to 12 months, and probably we're going to look at the next 12 days as well. So I'm going to highlight to everybody right now, Bitcoin, here's what you can expect over the next 12 months. And this article is really close to my heart because it brings out a very, very important curve, which I've been teaching over the last 20 years, the concept of an S-curve. Wow. What exactly is the concept of an S-curve? All right. Now, I'm going to highlight to all of us the key ideas behind an S-curve. Typically, at the very, very beginning of an S-curve. Now, this relates not just to Bitcoin. It relates to private companies, relates to public companies, it relates to the adoption of technology, of television, Wi-Fi, internet, and whatever not out there, all right? So at the very beginning, the 2.5% are what we call the early adopters. And then hitting to the 10% range, we are looking at the innovators. And by the time it hit 40%, that's called the early majority. And we have been talking about this point very, very clearly under BitcoinTreasuries.org. If you guys remember, right now the institution own less than 8% of the total 21 million fixed supply of Bitcoin. And you don't want to wait for the early majorities right there, because right now we are officially, right here. You are here at this red dot. So by the time the next batch of the 40% late majority comes in, my friend, you got no more chance in the marketplace. This is law of economics. You cannot run away from this. So those who are still scratching their head and asking all kind of what we call devil advocates question that can never get an answer, they will belong to the 10% laggards. At a point, I believe Bitcoin will probably be trading at $1 million per coin. So this is an all-important metric for us to understand. So I'm not going to just put this up in front of you. I'm going to give you the direct correlation to calculate this, all right? So that you really put everything into the right context. We go back to our BitcoinTreasuries.org right here. And then what this website has effectively done, the most important box is found right here. It is telling us, first of all, we are looking at what? ETF. We are looking at what? Countries. Hey, we are looking at what? Public companies. Hey, we are looking at what? Private companies. We are looking at all these four, and then we kind of tabulate them together to arrive at the total. So this is the total space that we're looking at right now. And holy moly, what are you looking at? We are looking at right now, we are only standing at the four of them combined is only 7% of the total 21 million fixed supply of Bitcoin. And you take this idea, you come back right here. Where's my table right now? You come back right here to the S-curve. That 7% mark. Ladies and gentlemen, are you not right here at this moment? You have every single window of opportunity to seize it. Now, back to Richard's question. Now, if you see right now, you are ahead of the S-curve at this window, right? And we are talking about those guys controlling about 7%. Then what can we expect in the next 12 months? We have been preaching about this as well. Remember, the keyword is called low-hanging fruits. Low-hanging fruits. LHF. Okay? And we are talking about this very important paragraph here. In the next year, we go from 1 to 3 countries adopting it. El Salvador has already done it. And, you know, I was doing a big read-up of President Bukele. This is such a brilliant guy, right? He done it right. And even though he's facing a major street protest right now, but you know what? He has taken complete control of the entire parliament in El Salvador in one single move, all right? So El Salvador started with that, legalizing Bitcoin, and we already lined up 5 other countries that's coming to pass. Now, we continue this statement. We go from 1 to 3 countries adopting it. Twitter doesn't just integrate it, but puts it on their balance sheet. multiple ETF approval. We spoke about this as well in our previous videos. We're talking about Bitcoin futures ETF as well as the Bitcoin ETF itself that allow all companies access to BTC, 10 publicly traded companies added to adoption next year. This year is happening. So we kind of line up all these low-hanging fruits, and you heard from Bobby Lee, the godfather of Bitcoin just now. He's looking at major FOMO in November, December, and all this just keep building up, building up. I think we don't really have to see over the next 12 months. In fact, I want to put a challenge out. Why don't we see the next 12 weeks? 12 weeks divided by 4 weeks per month, we talk about 3 months. From now today, we count down to end of this year, this 31st December 2021. What do you expect to see the price of Bitcoin? And here we go. Dun, 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 dun. We come back to here. And if we say we have a projection for 100,000, then jolly well, we got to be able to imagine it. The previous high is right here, 64,000. All right. And so the target that everybody is aiming for is 100,000. So currently for whatever price is trading, it must come back to the nearest high, which is standing about 53,000. And that is the point in time Bitcoin will be officially again go through the media $1 trillion market cap asset. And then the moment it hit back to the all-time high of 64,000, everybody will be in a feeding frenzy, like piranhas going out for eat the fresh of the blood, sucking up every bone and fresh meat out there. And by the time we're going to push all this way up to 100,000, connecting the dots of everything that has happened, and you put yourself into this situation right now and visualize, is this real or not? And is it just one person talking about it, or is it a crowd of really wise guys out there who not just talk about it, put their money down on the table? And I want to end off with this statement. This is called a self-fulfilling prophecy. Back to you, Richard.
Thank you, Dr. Clement. Now, that's the reason why we are organizing this Global Bitcoin Festival. It is a gathering of community of passionate Bitcoin holder, right, to update and promote education. And that's the reason why we are doing all this update from Monday, Wednesday, Friday to encourage more people to come in and put part of their money on Bitcoin, right? Now, so we need your support. We need you to go out there and also invite your friends to come and join us. Not only on our Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but also on this Global Bitcoin Festival. Now, this festival is this Global Bitcoin Festival. This movement is financed by Success Resources as well as Dr. Clement and myself as a contribution to the people of the world, because we believe that Bitcoin is a very, very amazing instrument for creating of wealth, not only for ourselves, but for generation to come. So, Dr. Clement, there is a recent article, NASDAQ article, that Bitcoin is going to go to above 300,000 because Twitter the integration of Twitter is going to push Bitcoin price over 300,000. So what do you think of this? What do you think of this new integration of Twitter?
Wow, Richard, this is huge. This is like the nuclear bomb. Because there's so many Twitter fans across the world, and we know Twitter is driven by Jack Dorsey, who happens to be the founder of Square as well. So he's really a huge guy out there looking at two things. Number one, the social media which he controls on one hand, and the other one, a payment company, Square, which he controls with the other hand. And with a guy so big, helming two great public companies out there, and he's taking a look at them and say, hey, you know what? What can we possibly do that kind of going to bridge all these gaps that's found in Bitcoin? And holy moly, this is the all-important story that pops out. Here we go. New Twitter integration will drive the Bitcoin price above 300,000. All right. Now, I'm going to come back to the prediction of 300,000 in a short while, but I want you all to see how will this have a direct impact on Twitter users. So I go to blog.twitter.com and we kind of really need to understand, hey, what exactly does it mean when Twitter kind of put Bitcoin on their platform? Here we go. So I want you all to focus right up here. This is where we are known as creators on Twitter. Those of us who are tweeting on a very, very regular basis, all right, they're going to put an icon here. There's a money icon. And if you are the fan reading the tweet and you have been benefiting from so many of those ideas coming out of the Twitter world, you can send the guy with Bitcoin. So open up Cash App and click continue. This is step one. Because you saw this icon there, you can send a tip, what I call send money to your favorite creator out there. And then you arrive here, pay with the Cash App. And that is where he wrote right over here, tipping with Bitcoin over the Lightning Network. Lightning because it's super fast, super efficient, and thereby creators out there will be so incentivized to continuously come up with better, and much better contents to kind of rally their fans together, or what we call the Twitter followers. Now, in terms of the operational flow, you've seen it. But how do the big wheels out there interpret it? I think that is much more important. And here we go. Twitter is going all in on crypto. This is another article because of why. Bitcoin tipping, I just shown you the feature. NFT authentication, non-fungible tokens authentication. This is really huge. But the single most important move, the very next day when this announcement was made, came from Katie Woods. Katie Woods invested, snap up 55 million in Twitter stock after it rolled its Bitcoin tipping feature. That is real. That is no longer about concept theories, hocus pocus, black box anymore. This is talking about money on the table. And that's the reason why with this connecting of the dots, we come back to here. Will it go to 300,000? Why don't we pose this question to all of our viewers today? Please put into the comment box. Do you think it will go to $300,000? So, while you're putting on your answers in the comment box, I'm going to show you a very, very important data, right? Here we go. Wow. Oh, man. How many of you believe you'll hit 300,000? All right. So I'm going to give you the numerical understanding why 300,000 is possible. Here we go. This is the number of Twitter users today. And as you can see, since 2017 to 2020, year-on-year growth, 110 million, 112 million, 139 million, 186 million. All right. So we are looking at this kind of numbers. And because Twitter, Jack Dorsey is really, really smart, he wants to embrace the world of crypto. He introduced this tipping function. And guess what? Every crypto enthusiast will flood into Twitter space right now. And thereby, they start transacting on Bitcoin. And thereby, we fulfill our very important word, P.S. I love you. You have fulfilled the payment side of things. People are sending tipping as a form of payment, as a store of value. And the creators can choose to keep Bitcoin as a store of value, waiting for the price appreciation, and thereby fulfilling everything that we painted about Bitcoin. Payment as well as store of value. And that's why I believe it will hit $300,000. Back to you, Richard.
Thank you. Now, just to follow up on what Clement has said. So how many of you on your Q&A, on your chat, but how many of you believe that Bitcoin will go to 100 and then even to 300? Maybe not this year, but eventually. How many of you believe that it will go to 300? Maybe not this year, but eventually. So if you believe that it will go, can you put out to 300? Can you put out on your chat there 300? Let's see. Wow, quite a bit of you. Okay. Betty, Susan, Matthias, Sunny, yes, Dennis, Jiseng, Amos, Sonel, Jose. Okay, good. Thank you so much. Okay, so many of you. Now, it's good that you type it in, but I would want to see where your action match your work. Now, so if Bitcoin is going to go up to 300,000 and hitting 100,000 this year and eventually 300,000 maybe in a few years, yeah, like Katie Wood, she's very convinced that Bitcoin will reach 500,000 in the year 2025, right? Am I right? 2025. Yes. So that's the reason why she has been putting her money where her mouth is. So if this is your conviction, you have to plan your financial strategy to match what you really truly believe before it is too late. So thank you very much for your feedback. Thank you so much. Now let's come to the last question, right? Last question for you, Dr. Clement, is this. People say money cannot buy happiness. Yeah, I do agree part of it. But can I ask you this? Can Bitcoin buy happiness in your opinion?
Wow, that's a really big question for us on a Monday. And, you know, I want to dive into this very important article by none other than one of the millionaires in the world. And we have a different perspective, all right? Every time I want to challenge the boundary of thinking. And so it started off with this question on 26 September. Money can't buy happiness. But what if Bitcoin can? So it was being rephrased in another manner, and see what the answers being presented. And then all of us put our lenses together, check the blind spots, and kind of achieve what we call self-actualization. Here we go. The answer came from none other than Bill, who discussed Bitcoin allocation and his price outlook with host Natalie. The millionaire explained that it's necessary for families to invest in Bitcoin. As why? Wow! Bitcoin buys happiness because it takes people out of third world poverty. Happiness is economic freedom. So how do we interpret something like this? We put our lenses right now together to look at third world countries, all right? They can do everything that they need to do every single day, no change. And in fact, they can't do anything much more. And they will just be at that stagnant level for perhaps the next 10, 20, 30 years, for the next 2, 3, 4 generations down line. And the only thing that can perhaps make a breakthrough is what exactly is stated in this red box. It takes people out of third world poverty. So that is the first reply from Bill. And then he was asked about how much should we allocate into Bitcoin then? As much as they humanly can within reasons. This is another big area of discussion where we talk about capital allocation and how much you're comfortable to allocate into it, all right? And then he goes on to say, I don't understand why the Fed government hasn't bought Bitcoin. In fact, reports are already out that, you know, FBI has also seized Bitcoin. So just now I shown you guys on China seizing Bitcoin, right? So let me show you right now. FBI seized Bitcoin, which is about 6 weeks ahead of China. And here we go. That was in last year, November. And the article came out here. All right, let me show you guys. So it's not that the government has not done anything yet. They have already done it. So please don't misinterpret the data. The US government seized 1 billion Bitcoin from dark web marketplace Silk Road. All right. And this was like November 2020. So how many Bitcoins does that translate into? This is 70,000 Bitcoins. And my question is, you seize, but where are the coins right now? You didn't auction it off. So theoretically, it's in the treasury of the federal government. It is still inside the government treasury. All right. So you take this idea and then we come back. I kind of like this process right now. You come back to tackle this question. I don't understand why the federal government hasn't bought Bitcoin, because they don't really need to buy. They just need to go out there and seize the Bitcoin. So this is what China is thinking about. This is what the US has already done. And then he go on to push it. Why the case for taking people out of poverty? Because they can see it's $1 million a coin. So I do not want to go through the rest of the article, but I want to answer to Richard directly. And that is this. Can Bitcoin buy happiness? Now, true happiness is when, you know what, we are able to spend less than we earn, and then we can really take care of our loved ones. We live healthily, happily, and we can sleep peacefully at night. So currently, if anyone out there who are struggling with their finances, who are struggling with the lockdown, the pandemic, and you're at your wit's end, you got no idea what to do next and how to pour forth your energy into the next endeavor. And very sadly, over the weekend, I read a kind of a heart-touching article about so many Malaysians in Johor Bahru. Right now, because of the lockdown between Singapore and Johor Bahru, there were two outcomes. Majority of the revenues in the state of Johor came from two groups of people. The first group are the 500,000 Singaporeans that travel into Johor Bahru every single day before the pandemic lockdown. And in fact, we've been locked down like more than a year already. Since April last year. Singapore, we can't enter into Johor Bahru by the land crossover at the causeway. So this first group, straight away, there's no more buying by the 500,000 Singaporeans entering into Johor Bahru every single day. One major drop. The second major drop are the group of Malaysians who are working in Singapore, earning Sing dollars, and then going back to Malaysia to spend that money. Now, most of them have quit their jobs in Singapore because they want to stay at home to look after their family members. And unfortunately, most of them are out of jobs until right now. So as you can see, these are dire straits period. People are really running out of wit's end. They do not know what else to do, right? Because even if you want to do it, like a story of one couple, they gave up their careers in Singapore, returned back to Johor Bahru, and they launched a restaurant business. Everything went down to drain because nobody can travel out in a lockdown. So this is the part where we can really ponder and think about Bitcoin, or money can't buy happiness, but what if Bitcoin can? And perhaps that is perhaps the only alternative right now out of this desperate situation. Back to you, Richard.
Thank you so much, Dr. Clement. Now, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we will be doing update and sharing about what's happening on Bitcoin. And also on Friday, when we have more time, we'll answer some questions. So we take note of some of the questions that you have posted, and we'll incorporate it in our answer, right, on Friday. We are organizing the Global Bitcoin Festival this October, which is about a month away. And it's a gathering of industry experts and enthusiastic community, right, of Bitcoin holder to promote education and adoption of Bitcoin. So Dr. Clement, can you give us one last word on this event, this October event, to everyone who is listening in right now?
Yes, absolutely, Richard. We are officially counting down. Dun, 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 dun. Right now, we are left with 31 days to the big mega event. 31 days, 13 hours counting down. And this is really, really huge. Now, I think we want to take some time to also take a step back to explain the rationale why Richard, together with Success Resources and myself, we are heading this movement. Number one, we know that in this current era of our generation, all right, what is the next big thing that can give you the greatest return in the shortest amount of time in terms of an asset class? And it's not just about you believing in it, but an overarching whole channel of funnel of players, starting from retail investors to institutional players, right up to right now, we're talking about government levels coming on board. And the numbers will just keep creeping up. And that's very correlated to the idea of the S-curve. So, you know, we are in the business whereby we want to understand what will happen 10, 20, 30 years down the line. So I've seen it. I'm very, very big into Bitcoin in terms of capital allocation. Many of you also traded together with me since the third Bitcoin halving event last year, 12th of May, and you have seen the power of the growth. This time around, we are going through this kind of a sideways movement, And that's the reason why the Global Bitcoin Festival will kick in really just nicely to consolidate everything that we learned from the big movement up to the big drop to the sideways movement. What is at hand? What are the challenges ahead? What are issues that we have not thought of? What are the projects that will be launching? What are the embracement of this beautiful coin that will get everybody integrated as a unified society so that we can create a better humanity for tomorrow? This is what the Global Bitcoin Festival is all about. That's the reason why Richard and myself, we want to encourage you. Step one, first of all, is free. We got nothing to gain out of this other than the fact that sharing with you about our knowledge, about interpretation, about analysis of what this asset class is all about. Number two, we also need to mobilize like-minded heroes of the day to join us in the Global Bitcoin Festival. And you guys, you should know that it's so amazing. Right now, we have Michael Saylor, the #1 corporate Bitcoin advocate in the world, who's joining us for this event. We have reached that point that has kind of shaped the thinking of financial breakthrough over 2 generations of people. I'm one of those early generations that got influenced by Robert Kiyosaki. And of course, we have the latest, hottest guy, Shark Tank, Mr. Wonderful. And he's a hedge fund manager. I want to hear from him personally because I'm also a hedge fund portfolio manager and see from their perspective. So the timing is really appropriate because it's exactly on the last few days of October, and of which we're all eagerly excited waiting for November, December to kick in. So encourage you guys, go and click on the link, register for free right now, and we shall see you at the Global Bitcoin Festival. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Dr. Clement, and thank you, everybody. So have a wonderful, wonderful week ahead and a victorious day today, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Thank you so much.